Check out the First Man Men's Lifestyle Supplement by using the links below. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. This is a very different video. It's titled I've Already Been Chad. And this is something that I've struggled with. Really struggled with to like wrap my head around, because I didn't grow up as a loser. Like my sort of men's lifestyle journey was, I was already at the top. I was like the fucking king for like my age group. Obviously older men would be a higher level, but like the king for my age group. And then it all dropped down and I've had to rebuild it. For a lot of guys, it's like they were a loser and they have to build up. Whereas I like was lucky enough to have that genetic thing, that like boost, the best at sports, good looking guy, in shape and all that shit. And then stuff started to go wrong. And I find it strange in like these, like the red pill, black pill communities, how they talk so much about Chad, the Chads. And it's like, I've been the Chads, and all the guys I went to school with who were the Chads are now the fucking losers. Okay, I'm thinking right now of the 4 most popular guys in my school. 3 of us are bald. Obviously, I've had like SMP, but 3 of us are bald. The other one's very much losing his hair. 1 looks like complete dog shit. The other one's gained like 2 stone of weight. And the other one's a bit of a creep. And then there's me, who's like gone up, like I've gone down, but I've started to come back up the other way, and I feel like I'm better than ever now. It's only from hard work, right? But the 3 like most popular kids in my school, it all went nowhere. Like they were the Chads. And then to throw in another kid, I just remembered another one. I mean, I don't think he looks like too bad, because he was always naturally like jacked and whatnot, but he's kind of broke, got a couple kids, like it's not really going too well. All the guys that are like absolutely killing it, that did really well, are not the Chads. They're almost like the nerds and whatever, like the guys that didn't really have a lot going on back then, but they've put the most work in, they've like grinded to the top and whatever. It's just a small percentage of guys. So it like gets to me when people are like, oh, the Chads, you're lucky that you're a Chad. It's like, I don't understand that, because it never goes well for those guys. I don't know if you guys remember, I made that video about a year ago, which is why good-looking men rarely succeed. And that revolves around the same concept. Is like, I think if you've got flaws, you're kind of lucky, because it makes you work harder and you appreciate stuff more. And the guys who are like the Chads and they're good looking and they're getting the girls, they're invited to all the parties, where's their motivation to like research something, to go and work hard on a new idea, to start a business, to go and, you know, they're already jacked. They don't need to get in the gym. They've got the best genetics. They don't need to work as hard as everybody else to look good. They're already getting the girls. So why would they learn how women work, how to improve their social skills, how to be funnier, how to have a better personality and stuff? They won't learn to do those things, which means that when you're 18, yeah, it sucks. But when you're like 28, those guys are fucking falling off, because they're out every night drinking, sleeping with all these girls. They're just not focused on working on themselves. And before you know who you are, especially when your financial situation, your success and whatnot comes into play, those guys just look like bums. They're the worst of the worst. And some people think that the point I'm making here is, let the Chads sleep with all the women and have all the fun, and then you take them when the Chads are on the way down. It's like, that's not what I'm saying, okay? Because believe me, if you're like a 28, 29, 30-year-old guy and you're high level, the 18 to 21-year-old women still want you too. Believe me, I'm saying that from experience right now, okay? So for somebody who was I was going to be a professional footballer. I was playing for Forest Green Rovers. I was kind of like I remember everybody was like at sixth form or like year 11 at school and whatnot, and they were all like moaning that, oh, we have to come back for another 2 years and this is boring and where's life going and whatnot. And I was like, I'm gonna be a professional footballer, like I'm gonna get a contract and whatever, like life's great. I ended up getting a bunch of injuries which stopped me from doing that, but I did make it onto one of the Championship Manager football games. I can't remember which one, like 2010 or something. I don't know. Go and have a look at your old Football Manager games. I'm on it for Forest Green. Just case them and you'll be able to see it. And you know, I was optimistic about that, and I was naturally in shape and whatnot. You guys have seen old pictures of me. People have said, oh, you look like Zac Efron when you were young. Like, that's less Chad-like. Do you know what I mean? I'm 6'2" today. I was probably like 6 foot at the time. Like my life was good. Put it that way. I was strong. I was tough. Like life was pretty good. Okay. But then it all went that way because you get lazy. Like my diet was shocking. Thinking back now, I'd have like just chocolate bars on demand. I'd eat a packet of crisps. I'd take a Pringle box upstairs, and I remember I'd sit on the Xbox. That's literally what I'd do. I'd like take a Pringle box, I'd go upstairs, and I'd sit on the Xbox, and I'd just eat through the fucking whole like Pringle box. And then I'd think I was the man. Like the next day I'd wake up and I'd get results from women. I'd go on a date. Women would say I'm attractive. Where was my motivation to stop eating Pringles and playing games till like 3 a.m? Why would I stop? If I've got women who still want me, if I'm going out on the football pitch and I'm still the best player, why would I stop? But my point is, guys, it doesn't last forever. And that's why I suffered from massive depression at like 23, 24 years old. Because I was like, where the fuck is my life going? You know, you're not getting the results of yesteryear. Like being the guy who's good at football at 24 doesn't mean a lot. Being the guy who's really strong and naturally, you know, in great shape, but with a terrible diet and has puffed up his face and whatnot from eating all the shit foods and doesn't really lift weights, just thought, hey, I play football, that's enough cardio to make me look good, which it used to be. Once you get to the age of a man at like 24, it wasn't really effective because there were other guys who had got in the gym who started taking like testosterone by then and stuff like that, and they were jacked and they were getting all the attention. I've always told you guys of the story of me chasing that girl around the club, like not literally chasing her around the club, but I was trying like hard all night and we were having conversations and we'd had like pre-drinks together and stuff like that. I was thinking she's mine, I'm the man because of my previous history in like high school and stuff like that. And then her boyfriend comes in and he was just like jacked, much more wealthy than me, had a car outside, and she was like, oh, my boyfriend's here, I gotta go. She's like, hi babe, big kiss, goes home. He probably smashed her that night. And I remember thinking to myself, the game's changed. I'm not the man anymore. Like, I've dropped down significantly. I remember being at another party when, because back in the day I used to look like Gaz from Geordie Shore, and some girl said this at like some pre-drinks party, and she was like, but have you got the abs like him? And I was like, yeah, because I thought I did, right? And this is the thing about these chads, is they see themselves up here because that's what they've always been told, but they don't work on themselves and they don't realize that they fucked up until later in life. And like I couldn't see that I'd gained weight, and I like pulled up my kind of top and I was like tensing, and one of my mates was sat there and he was like, right, no you don't. And like everyone chuckled and whatever and moved on, and I was like, what? Yeah, but I do. I was like, wait, what? And she was like still like smiled at me and whatnot, and I was just like this girl who asked. And I was like, okay, well, she like maybe she still likes me and whatever, but I couldn't work out. I was like, I do have abs, and I couldn't work this out for like months at a time, but I didn't have that knowledge that I have now of like calorie deficit, clean up your diet, stop eating shit, drinking fucking alcohol at least once per week, and like it will creep up on you. So you could be the Jack Chad at high school. By like 22 years old, you could have gained 1% body fat for the last 6 years and not realized. So instead of being 10, you're now 16. So you think you're jacked, but you're not. You've just not seen it because it's only 1% every single year. So you've not really seen it happen. Do you see what I mean, guys? Like it creeps up on you. And then you might get to like 25, 26 years old. And there's certain guys that have been out of uni for like 4 or 5 years. They've got jobs at like Google, Microsoft, and they turn up in like a brand new car. And you go, fuck, I didn't know people my age could have a car like that. Like, what, are we at that level now? Like, it kind of hits you. You go, oh, we're at nice car and loads of money level now. Fuck, I thought we were still at going out on a Saturday, getting drunk and smashing girls level. Oh shit, this stuff's gone up. Everything's changed. I didn't realize. You get this as a man. You know, as a woman, it's just you're hot still. That's like the only metric. Or you've had kids, you've got family, you're married. That's like the only things they worry about. As a man, it's like you've gone to that next stage now. Just the good-looking guy with the nice hair, it's gone. It's like 40% of your mates are bald now. Like, we're looking at money, we're looking at assets, we're looking at life setup, we're looking at your frame, like who you are as a person, your social group, your lifestyle, like how cultured you are. These other things come into play. And I'm saying that based on the title of this video, guys. I've been Chad. It's not that great. At the time, yeah, it was pretty good. It's pretty enjoyable. You get, you have a pretty fucking great life. Everyone thinks you're the man. It's just so short-lived. So if you're sat there now and you're some little weedy kids and you're thinking, oh, I wish I was Chad, I wish I was this. Guys, I'm telling you, it just doesn't end well for those guys. Like, you are better. Like, the best thing that ever happened to me was going bald. Okay, obviously, like I've said, no, I've had SMP, I've had it replaced, whatnot. But when I went bald, I realized, because I think this is a true statement, 90% of men under the age of 25 are just hair. You take their hair away and they're ugly. And that doesn't mean that doesn't mean being bald makes you ugly. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that hair for a lot of guys is like a force field. It's like protecting what's truly going on under the surface. Okay, because I didn't realize how much I'd let myself go until I went bald. When I had a full head of hair, it was masked. I didn't know I was like 18% body fat. I thought I was still shredded. I always thought I was like 9 or 10% body fat. I didn't really know. Because you're still getting some level of results. You still got some level of youth. I didn't realize how broke I was until I lost my hair. When I realized, oh, now I'm a broke, bald guy. I'm too old and I'm broke. Like, you don't, like, certain things don't really click. So for 90% of guys under the age of 25, they're just hair. You take their hair away and they're literally nothing. They've got nothing left. Okay? And I've noticed this with all the chads that I went to school with. And the majority of them now are bald, probably because they had higher testosterone. A lot of them were on steroids and stuff because they were rugby players. They all look like shit now. Okay? They lost that hair and that kind of mystification went away. That like mystique just vanished. It was like, oh, I didn't realize that guy was actually really ugly this whole time. He was actually 18% body fat. It's just none of us knew because he just looked like a jack guy with nice hair. It's just like it all gets revealed. And it was just like the best thing that ever fucking happened to me. It just kind of showed me that actually you're not that great. You've let all your other areas of life go down. Okay, so then I improved finances, body, face and stuff like that. I started improving all these areas, looking into neck training, looking into multiple areas of life and stuff like that. And what I built was a bold version of myself. This I'm talking about like a year ago. A bold version of myself that was 10 times better than the Chad that I ever was. And I was getting way better results and more attention and all this sort of shit. And my life was way better and it was going somewhere and I felt proud of myself, even though I was bold. And it's like, that's what these Chads do. That's what good looking guys do. They just give up on other areas of life because there's no reason to do it. If you go out, get drunk, whatever, eat a load of shit food, and then you're walking along the street and some woman's like, hey, handsome, why would you change? You got no reason to change, right? It's like I've always said, when my dad had cancer and he was going to the doctors, I was like, but surely, I was like, my dad knows more than you because you don't have cancer, so you have no reason to research it. I was like, he's been researching this for like 2 years now. He probably knows more than you do on the subject. Oh, don't be so silly. I was like, well, he probably does because you don't have skin in the game. Whereas the ugly guys in like real life, to revert back to the subject here, they have more skin in the game because they have more reason to improve. They're always looking for the next answer. It's like the guys who are in, like, people always take the piss out of these guys that are in like 4chan groups or Reddit groups. They're like, oh, these fucking incels and whatever. They probably know more about women than the guys that are getting women. Okay, when they're young, I mean, like when people are young. But the reason they're not getting women is because they're not the Chads, right? But if they were to put the work in, by the time they got to like 30 years old, with the knowledge that they have of the game, they would be killers. But they don't see it that way. Okay, because like I said, I've been a Chad. I was hanging around with the Chads. They were all like my mates. All of them today are pretty much losers. They don't have good jobs. They look like shit. They're bald. They're out of shape. It's like it just comes crashing down because they don't know how to fix that shit. Like, I got lucky because I think my dad was such a savage. All my life, he's just like kept his testosterone high, played sports, lifted weights, like always, if you have a lazy day, he's like, come on, get up, let's do something. So I've had that mentality installed in me. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have improved from where I went. Okay, I would have probably just stuck to where I was, but I went back to the drawing board and said, okay, we got to rekindle this. We've got to get this going again. You know, it was great for this channel because it showed me like both sides of the coin. So it's fantastic because I've been in both scenarios. But I'm telling you guys, being the Chad, being the genetically blessed guy, it's not actually that much of a gift. Yeah, you might get a bit of pussy in high school, but once you go beyond like 23 years old, it's almost pointless. It just basically means nothing. It just all disappears. You're like, you know, it's almost worse because you're not putting the work in. You don't know how to fix it. You've always had everything given to you. It's like a beautiful woman who's, you know, gets to 35 years old and gets divorced. She goes back out into the dating market and it's like, what? I'm not getting the same response. People, I thought I was this straight 10. Like my husband always told me I was. Like, what happened? And it's like, yeah, it's not the same anymore. It's not going to work like it did when you were 21 when you met your husband. And they can't get their heads around that. The Chads are the same. They can't get their heads around the fact that they're not the man anymore. Until maybe like 10 years down the line and it clicks and then they go, I better do something about it. But it's almost like too late because they're like 40 years old, 50 years old. And they're trying to rekindle a whole lifestyle. And it's like, it can be done, but it's just very, very difficult if you don't know what you're doing. So, like I said, guys, I've been Chad. It's not that great, okay? Like, it fell apart as quick as anybody else's could fall apart. The best thing that you can do is just constant self-improvement year upon year. And eventually, the cream will rise to the top. That's what you'll get. You'll just rise to the top because everybody's falling. All these other guys are falling. Like 99% of men are just on the downturn because they're not doing anything about it. And if you're the one who just keeps working on himself, keeps improving, living clean is a big one as well. I just go to bed early, avoid alcohol, eat decent foods, exercising, getting your cardio in once a week, like some explosive hill sprints and stuff like that. Keeping your skin good and things like, you know, worrying about the things that nobody else cares about, like neck exercises, submentals. If you keep doing all of this stuff as an accumulation, I promise you, forget the Chads, forget all this other shit. You will fly past them all. You'll be rising to the top. It might take a few years, but I promise you will get to the top because everybody falls. Check out the First Man Men's Lifestyle Supplement by using the links below.